What's poppin' everybody? It's a Saber94 on the Whimsy Players channel. Gonna be showing you guys my deck list for Red Blue Ace from OP13. I intended to use this deck a lot longer before I show the deck video, but I'm actually gonna be moving into a new deck, so get this out of the way before people ask me about the list in case people ask me. So Red Blue Ace, very meta leader, very broken leader, one of those 6k leaders. Only 3 lives, so you basically just get 1 less than you normally get if you were a dual color leader. But you get that 6,000 and you get 2 very good effects. On opponent's attack, you can trash a card from your hand and give minus 2,000 to the character attacking. So basically it turns your cards in hand that would be dead into 2k counters, which is handy. And then when you receive damage in life, if you got a Dawn on this card, you basically get to draw a card. If something dies with 6k or more, you draw a card too. So depending on how you use this deck, like if you got your blockers like Marco down and other blockers and just other characters your opponent has to kill, or they're just going to keep getting benefits, like this Yamato here, you know, you get to draw free cards basically for no reason. So it's extremely good. Being red-blue, you get to take advantage of a lot of very great cards, and there's a lot of great new cards for blue that this guy can utilize amazingly well. So we'll get to them. First card is Garp. In the beginning, I had more of a Whitebeard engine and had Izzo in, the red one, not the blue one. But then I realized Garp, you can basically search anything with this guy as long as you're running Ace. We're running Ace, so we basically get a better searcher, and I have more flexibility and freedom to run other cards that are not Whitebeard. So this is the better searcher. I mean, I think the conventional builds, they run this guy and they run like Blue Izzo as well, and they just run a lot more searchers, but I really don't see the point. This guy is enough in the early game. If we get to open with him, we get that search and we get that body down, so it's good. I got the double King Du. I like this blocker because it's essentially kind of like a floater, not exactly, but it is in a way. His job is to block, of course, that big attack that you can't protect yourself from with cards from the hand. If they kill him by an effect so that they, you know, dodge the block, then your leader is going to get buffed. So it just gives me that sort of extra protection in that regard. So it's good. I like this card. So we do 2 copies. Then I got 4 of the Tony Chopper. This is usually going to be in hand as a 2k, but in an emergency, you can drop him down and is a 6k blocker. Not going to make that much difference since our leader is 6k, but it's just a 2k in hand, so good enough. And then I got Whitebeard. Again, 2k counters. I like to run quite a few in most of my decks. Protection, and it's Whitebeard, super cool. Double Yamato. I think many people don't run this card in their decks. I don't see why you wouldn't. It's essentially a rush character with a high enough attack for the cost, and you get a free Dawn every turn. You're gonna get a Dawn to your leader, and if they don't kill this Yamato, you get that Dawn every turn. So the pressure is gonna be to attack Yamato to kill her. It's gonna be easier for you to protect her with higher attack, and it's just a great card. And because of the way it's worded, it's not an on-play effect. So Blackbeard isn't going to be able to stop it. So against Blackbeard, you got cards that are basically going to be able to be useful regardless of Blackbeard's effect. So it's good. So run the bitch. Then I got this Monkey D. Dragon. I guess now that we get the new Red Zoro, I think it came in OP14. It's a 7 for 8 rush, and you can give minus 1,000 every turn. I don't know, maybe I'd swap Monkey D. Dragon for that card or do 1-on-1, but I'm going to show you guys the deck, how I run it in all these matches. So Monkey D. Dragon, rush, the Dawns, you can put them on Ace and then you meet its condition for the effect and just more pressure for your opponent. Good card, I'd say. We got Vista, just a 1 blocker. Again, I just want to have some cheap characters, you know, my 4 searchers and then the one of cheap blocker. You can drop him late game, you never know. Early game, never know. Got him in. Double Margaret, again, one of my favorite cards. I just like it. Simple, but works. Blocker, draw a card on summon, so it's basically a +1, good card. More defense. You know, later on, if we're at the 10 range and we don't got the Whitebeard and we drop things like Yamato, and then you can drop other cheaper cards like Margaret and they get that extra defense. Weevil, once again, one of my favorite cards, just a draw 1 on summon, +1, good shit, simple. I think a lot of the cards I run, a lot of people don't run them in their Whitebeard decks, but I prefer to just use cards that give me instant card advantage instead of just doing combos with, you know, the Whitebeard event. You summon 10 cards for 8 and then you do shit like that. I like these simple cards, and the beauty about running these cards in this deck too is that when I don't need them, I can always just discard them as a 2K. So it just makes the deck very consistent. I really don't know how to describe it. It's like I got them when I want to play them, and then when I don't want to play them, they're in hand, I can still just discard them. Okay? All right. Then the one of ulti, this is again kind of like, you could say a worse Weevil. She's a 10 in hand, but she's got less attack if you summon her. And since this is a multicolor leader, when we summon her, you get basically a little search, draw 1 from the top 3 cards of your deck. So you can get what you want, but most of the time I just have her in hand and she gets discarded basically. Because if I got these guys together, I'm just going to summon a Weevil for the better attack. You draw so many cards with this deck that it's not like you really want to search for something specific, except maybe the Whitebeard. But, you know, I have her in. She's, again, another +1. Never know in a weird game. Then we got Marco, so this is much more consistent. Blocker, 6k, draw 2 when it dies. Man, when you get this guy down and this guy has a Dawn, and then your opponent, you use it to block, it dies, you just draw 3 cards and you block their attack. It's extremely insane. Broken ass card. Expensive for a reason. Blue stabled in a way. And it's a Whitebeard card too. So if you were going to do like the Whitebeard engine, it makes even more sense. So max this out. And again, it's a good counter to Blackbeard. Blackbeard can't stop this. So we get that value. Then we got Nami. This is pretty similar to ulti. If your leader is multicolored, you draw 3 and then you can get 2 cards from your hand and stack them at the bottom or the top of the deck in any order. But she's a 5 for 6. She's a blocker. She can't be handy. So I got her in. Basically another +1. And it does work as a counter in hand too. So, you know, we can always discard her if we just need to block for 1,000. And then we got Yamato. This might be like the strongest card in this deck besides the Whitebeard because of just how broken she is. Essentially in this deck, this gives you a draw 2 on summon. I guess in a different dual color deck, you would have to be kind of dead for her to get the effect off. So in the early game, if you drop her, you might not be at 3 life. But with this guy, you're always just going to get the draw 2. And it's extremely good. It really makes all these other like draw cards and +1 cards shit by comparison objectively. But yeah, man, I don't know why they made her so good, but I guess it's power creep. You draw 2 and then you get a free Dawn as well. She's a 1,000 in hand. Stats are good. You can't really go wrong with her. I find that when you summon this card, the more times you can play her down, draw 2, play her down, draw 2, you just get way too much advantage. Unless your opponent does something like pudding, then you're just going to be ahead in card advantage no matter what. She's too good. Okay, then Ace for more 2k counters. And then I got the Whitebeards. I do one of the OP8 Whitebeard as a kind of a tech. Sometimes he works, sometimes he's not really that good. He should have stopped the leader as well. Like they would have to discard for the leader too, for it to be really, really good. Because, yeah, man, if you're gonna play this and try and just save yourself, depending on how many cards your opponent has in hand and their field, they could still just ignore it and try and go for game. Of course, if they fail, then it means that they run out of hand, but the idea is you want to stop a bunch of bodies. Perhaps stop at least 2 big attacks at least. Then he's kind of like the Doflamingo with slightly higher attack. But it's all he has. I mean, you gotta be a 2 life or less too, so there's that condition. It's easier to meet in this deck, that's why I decided to put him in compared to other like Whitebeard decks. But I wish his effect was slightly better. I mean, it's not that broken. Your opponent has somewhat of a freedom to work around it. It's the only thing he has. You know, at least he's got 12,000 attack. If he didn't have 12,000 attack for 10, I don't think I would be running him. Okay. And then the much more consistent Whitebeard, this guy, my favorite boss character right now. 10 for 12,000, blocker, draw 2, discard 1, so draw 1 plus 1 again, and you get 4 Dons to put on your leader and a character. So of course, in order to get the most out of this, you want to have at least 1 character down that is gonna attack. So you get that buff, and then your leader gets that buff, and then you can apply pressure, but it's just way too good. Even when I go back to Boa, which I'm going to, not yet, it's not going to be the next deck, but when I will eventually go back to Blue Boa, this guy is obviously going to replace either Kaido. Even though he doesn't really, you know, synergize with Boa's leader effect, the pluses are just way too good. You know? You are going to draw 1, so Kaido, what does he have over you? Just draw 3, but then this guy's a blocker and it just gives rest at dawn. It's just way too powerful. I don't even know why this card is so cheap, to be honest, on card market. I don't get it, but it is what it is. And then the last card, Gravely Blade, Raging Tiger. So most Ace decks that I see, if they run these sort of blue removal events, they favor Red Rock over this. And I understand it, but you know, in this kind of a deck where you're not going to get the plus with Boa, Red Rock is a 1-for-1. This is a +1 if you remove 2 things. And I really like removing stuff like this Marco and just other stuff that float on KO. So I think this is kind of a better meta call, you could say. Yeah, to get rid of the biggest boss characters is good, but maybe we can sort of deal with them in a different way. You know, block them or deal with them with Whitebeard. But this is just, it gives me that +1. It has a better trigger effect too. And yeah, I just decided if I gotta have only 1 card out of the 2 in this deck because of space, I'd rather have this than Red Rock. And yeah, guys, this is my Portgas D Ace deck. I think it's much different than what a lot of other players would run. But I've explained why I run a lot of cards, things like Weevil and Margaret, you know, Ulti, Nami even. Just cards that give you +1 draw. I like to have a lot of 2k counters to protect myself. I don't like to let the early swings get through for the most part. I like to have a bunch of blockers and just out-resource my opponent. Now, I guess maybe I should address Pudding because Monkey Fight TCG made a video as well about the card, and I kind of disagree with a lot of the stuff he said. I don't got Pudding in this deck. I did ran her before in other blue decks, but I think the card is very, very overrated, and especially with competition right now with so many other great cards. I just don't see why I would run her. I've noticed, I've even showed matches that my opponent drops her, like in the mirror. They shave off a couple of cards successfully, but then it still didn't give them enough of an advantage. Like, she doesn't have enough attack, that's why she's kind of balanced in that sense. So you get kind of a moderately not very useful body down unless you put downs on her to attack. You do pay a cost to summon her for your opponent to lose cards from their hand, of course. And, you know, depending on the cards that I draw, I'm still going to have a hand to work with. And with somebody like Ace, you can start filling up your hand with lots of cards quickly again, because so many of these cards draw you shit. So it's not like you're gonna run out of hand. So yeah, pudding, I really just don't think it's that great of a card. I think it's kind of overrated. It can be pretty good, of course, depending on the matchup. If you can shave a couple of cards, then you got to benefit, but it's just not my playstyle. I guess even if you can't use her, she's 1,000 in hand, so she's not going to be completely dead. So I don't know, if you want to get rid of like ulti or something and put 1 or 2 puddings in, get rid of like a Nami, I don't know. I just don't favor the card though. It doesn't click with me. When I used her in like Boa and other blue decks, she wasn't that great. And a lot of the times, depending on how your opponent plays or the deck they're running, you may not even get the opportunity to shave anything. Like they're gonna be at a low hand size, so you can't even use her. So then she's just a 10k in hand, and that's it. Anyways, this is the deck profile, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. I will return to Red Blue Ace maybe eventually in the future, but there's another new deck that I want to show right now. Show matches with it. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, share the video with your friends, and I'll see you guys next time. What?